I'm Danielle Dyer, and this is Roundball Reloaded, a reimagined version of the Roundball Report, where I'll be your host and sharing all my opinions in the stories in sports that you didn't know you wanted to hear until now. So sit back and relax, because Roundball Reloaded is next.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays. Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back to Roundball Reloaded. I'm here today with a very special guest and my co-host for the evening, my dad and long-standing host of the Roundball Report, Mr. Andrew Dyer. Thank you for joining me today.
It's a pleasure joining you, Danielle Dyer.
Well, 24 years hosting the Roundball Report. Can I ask you what inspired the show?
The Roundball Report started back in 1996.
I wasn't even born yet.
It was before you were a thought. And it was when your mom was working here at CTV. And I had an idea, a concept about a local Wizards show. And Curtis Crutchfield, one of my mentors here, he said, why don't we do a show covering local high school, college, and pro basketball? Mm-hmm. And then that led me to think, okay, I can follow off of the program that the NBA has called The Inside Stuff, where they had a male and female host and co-host, Grant Hill and Willow Bay. And then I was blessed enough to, a friend of mine, Archie Talley, introduced me to Christy Winters. She was Christy Winters at the time, not Christy Winters Scott. And we started the show, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Mm-hmm. Well, history has certainly been made, 24 years on the air, and you being a DMV native, what specifically about this area made it special to cover and highlight those sports specifically?
I remember the incredible names that I had a chance to interview. Morgan Wooten, the late great Morgan Wooten, Mike Jones at DeMatha, James Brown of CBS Sports. The opportunity to cover the Capitol Classic. Ron Owens, one of the guys that's shooting for us tonight, he was the producer and host for the Capitol Classic for years and won awards for doing that. So getting a chance to, before it was even known as the DMV, to get a chance to highlight and focus on all the top-notch basketball and on men and women. And one of the things that I always liked to do was all the images that you saw of our youth were negative, crime and things of that nature. What I always wanted to do was put them on this show and focus on them for the basketball exploits and for the exploits in the classroom. So that's always been a pleasure of mine.
Wow. Well, that's very meaningful. You mentioned so many huge names that have been a part of this show. James Brown, I know Quinn Cook has been a part of this show many times. The list goes on and on. We're thinking about people like Christy Winters Scott now, Monica McNutt, who are on these huge platforms and being successful and started right here on the Roundball Report. What does that mean to you to see the fruits of your labor and put more positive images of Black women, as you said, on TV?
It's been a great honor because they had the work ethic from their athletic background. They had the look for television, but they weren't deterred by, because it's a tough business, and they weren't deterred by no's. Because I remember Monica came back to me twice, and she was ready to give it all up, and my wife and I told her, say, no, your parents, you're still living free at your parents' house from a scholarship. Give it one more shot. And she gave it one more shot, and that was a shot that hit for her, and she's been doing great things.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned how tough the business is and having a platform not only to highlight DMV basketball talent, but as you said, give women in this business an opportunity. I guess now, what does it mean to you to pass the torch on to me and reimagine the show and be sitting here as co-hosts together?
It's a very proud moment because if I could help young ladies that I didn't have a relationship with, the least I can do is do the same thing for my daughter. But the thing is, just like the other young ladies, you have the work ethic, you have the talent, you have the drive, you have the enthusiasm, and I'll do everything I can to put you in a position to be successful.
Oh, how sweet. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for this opportunity. My last question is, what has been your favorite memory of the show? 24 years, you mentioned that's a long time. What stands out to you the most?
The 500th show anniversary, where we had Monica, Christy, Harold Bell, Janae Hayes, Nikki Lewis, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It was just a veritable
family reunion.
It was like you said, it was like a family reunion, and I enjoyed that. And then we did the same thing about 5 years later, but we did it virtually, a 1,000th show reunion, where I had different guests on for about a month, all celebrating the 1,000th show. Those that have gone on to bigger and better things, like Chris Clark and several other people.
1,000 shows, and you mentioned COVID, sticking through that even virtually. What does it mean to you now to be sitting back in the studio? We talk about businesses that don't make it past COVID, but now we're back up and running. How does that feel to you to have this impact continue on?
It shows that it has something to last, that there's some substance to it. That when I made the recall out, guys that I've had with me, like Sterling and Terrell and Ron and Stan, they all came back and said, sure. And that really made me feel special, that even after all these years, they were still willing to help, and now help you carry the torch on to the Roundball Report, and I'll be on anytime you need me.
Well, thank you, and that speaks to you as a person and all that you've been able to do for everyone that's been a part of the show. So thank you for being here. We're excited for what we have up next.
One in 3 adults has prediabetes. This puts them at increased risk for type 2 diabetes, heart attack, and kidney disease. The good news? Prediabetes can be reversed. Follow along with this 1-minute risk test to learn your risk for prediabetes. Are you over 40? That's 1 point. Over 50? That's another. Over 60? Add 1 more. If you're a man, give yourself a point. Family history of diabetes? Add a point. Have high blood pressure? Add another. Not physically active? That's a point. Are you slightly overweight? That's 1 point. Pretty overweight? That's 2. Very overweight? That's 3. A score of 5 or more means you likely have prediabetes, so talk with your doctor. Learn how you can change the outcome at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to this edition of Roundball Reloaded. Now I'm going to turn the page to women's college hoops, because we had a lot of activity, outstanding matchups this weekend. And remaining with me to discuss those is Danielle Dyer. And Danielle, Darlene is the mom. Danielle, talk about some of the matchups that took place over the weekend.
Yeah, as you said, it was an action-packed weekend for women's basketball, notably the LSU versus Texas matchup, a big upset that many people weren't expecting. LSU came into it ranked number 12, and Texas, as we know, was the number 2 team in the country, and LSU was able to run away with that win at home. Let's just talk about some things that worked over the weekend. I mean, first we had Michaela Williams have 20 points and 5 steals, and she guarded Madison Booker the whole game for Texas. What do you think this means for LSU really getting a win that no one had expected them to get? They've been ridiculed all season for their strength of schedule. What do you think this says for them as they're moving toward March?
Kim Mulkey knows what she's doing. I mean, she's got multiple championships at multiple schools. She said she doesn't overwork her girls in the pre-conference season because the SEC is so tough, and she got them ready. They were beating everybody. They were averaging 100 points a game, beating everyone up. But to be able to shut down Madison Booker, that was huge in the key to victory.
Yeah, shutdown is definitely used loosely. She had 24 points, but I think the big thing for Michaela Williams was forcing 6 turnovers. They also were able to take point guard Rory Harmon out of it. She only had 2 points the entire game.
And she didn't play the fourth quarter at all.
Yeah. Vic Schaefer mentioned in the post-game press conference, he said, you know, she wasn't playing well, so we gave someone else a chance. So. Keep going. Okay, well, now we're going to switch gears a little bit and head over to Ohio State and Maryland's matchup from the weekend. I was on site and did some coverage pre, post, and at halftime. Let's show you the highlight from the weekend. Welcome into Xfinity Center here in College Park, where we have a star-studded Big Ten matchup between number 8 Maryland and number 19 Ohio State. Both teams enter the matchup a part of a 3-way tie for third place in the Big Ten, sitting at 4-1 respectively. The Buckeyes enter the matchup 14-2 on the season, coming off of a road conference win over Illinois. They're led by Jelani Cambridge, who averages 20 points and 4 assists per game, and had a massive career high of 41 points in the win over Illinois. The Terps take more of a scoring-by-committee approach, led by Alushi Akanwa with 16 points and 2 steals per game. They'll look to grab this ranked conference matchup right off the glass, as they are number 3 in the country and number 2 in the Big Ten in rebounding margin, and have won the rebounding battles 15 of 17 of their games this season. It's halftime here in College Park, and number 8 Maryland leads number 19 Ohio State 42-40. Maryland jumped out on Ohio State in the first quarter, going into the second quarter with a 12-point lead. Ohio State was able to claw their way back into this one behind their leading scorer, Jelani Cambridge's team-high 12 points. Yarden Garzone for Maryland shot lights out from 3, leading the team with 14 points on 4 3-pointers made. This game is pretty much evenly matched in all statistical categories, with Maryland taking advantage of points in the paint and Ohio State capitalizing on fast breaks. Forward Kylie Kitt stepped up big for the Buckeyes with 18 points and 3 3-pointers made.
They were sagging off me a little bit on my threes, so I was able to knock a few of those down, which helped us in the long run.
Final here in College Park is Ohio State 89, Maryland 76. The Buckeyes were able to pull off an impressive road win behind their 3-point shooting and rebounding prowess. Jelani Cambridge led the team with 28 points, and Ohio State shot 50% from both the field and from 3-point.
I'm really proud of myself just getting to the line, not letting up. They're trying to deny me off the ball, but my team has stepped up, and I'm okay with playing off the ball. I don't have to be the star of every show.
For Maryland, Alushi Akanwa hit her 1,000-point milestone, but Ohio State took the lead late in the third quarter, and Maryland seemingly had no response. They had 17 turnovers and allowed for 22 points off of these turnovers. Head coach Brenda Freese had this to say about Maryland's turnover struggles.
Did a decent job against their press. That's not where the turnovers came. So we've got to be able to, it's the unforced turnovers or in transition where, you know, it's when we're trying to, like, you know, really make a decision that's not there. So just, again, that's been an Achilles heel for us all year.
They also tied the rebounding battle at 39, a critical piece to their winning identity. Maryland will look to head on the road to LA and face off against the 21st ranked USC Trojans. They'll look to stack 2 big wins while on the West Coast. This is Danielle Dyer with Roundball Reloaded, signing out from College Park. It was a tough one for Maryland over the weekend. I think the thing that stands out to me most is the turnovers that they struggle with. Coach Freeze mentioned a lot of them were unforced errors and just forcing things that really weren't there. You had a Lucio Kanawa step up with 27. It seemed almost like a quiet 27, hit that 1,000-point mark, but it seemed like Ohio State took over in the third quarter and Maryland just really had no answer. What stood out to you in that one, Andrew?
What stood out was who was missing. Mack, the freshman point guard. She is a big-time scorer, but she had a lot of turnovers, really couldn't get her transition game going, and she needed to help Okanawa out. And Poffenbarger, she was a no-show in the second half, and but it was a tough game. The pace, Ohio State got hot, and they got hot as a team, and Maryland could never recover.
Mm-hmm. Coach Freeze mentioned that Poffenbarger's ongoing struggles with nagging injuries have definitely slowed her down. She's been limited in practice, so I think that definitely showed up in the second half, like you said. Mm-hmm. Ohio State showed up in a way they haven't shown up the rest of the season. Coach Freeze mentioned they had a 50-50-90 stat, so 50% from the field, from three, and 90% from the free throw line. I think with 17 turnovers from Maryland, that's pretty much an automatic loss unless you're absolutely shooting lights out. So definitely a tough loss, but I think there's lots of lessons that they can learn. What do you think they take away heading into this West Coast swing?
Well, they're going to have to protect the basketball, continue to rebound, and get team scoring from Okanawa to help her out on a regular basis, because she's more of a scorer than a shooter. And Poffenbarger and Garzon are shooters. But Mack, the freshman, is going to have to step up and give them some consistent offensive flow as well.
Mm-hmm. Maryland's identity is also rebounding. They won the rebounding battle 15 out of 17 times this season. They tied it this game, and when they don't win that rebounding battle, we see that it ends up being a loss for them. So hopefully they can turn that around heading into USC and then a tough UCLA right after that.
Right.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In this place, strength means something different. It means us all being together and doing our thing.
Place for you. Gather round, let's continue with our paper rocket. Here's this one. This one's yours. This is for you. And let's move together.
There's my guys.
You can look all you want, but there's still no place like this place.
There's nearly 678,290,000 kids under 5 around the world. But what's so important about being 5? Well, children who live to age 5 are twice as likely to reach adulthood. That's why vaccines matter so much. For 40 years, Rotary and partners have delivered vaccines globally. Like here and even here, in your neighborhood and around the world, Rotary is ensuring children grow up safe from preventable diseases.
Are you looking for more in this world? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, those driven by purpose. We are the Peace Corps, volunteers, partners, communities in more than 60 countries, bringing our experience, joy, and passion to building a better world together. Are you ready to serve boldly, to go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us.
Welcome back. Now we're going to enter into a segment after my own heart called Shooters Shoot, where we're highlighting 3-point plays from the weekend. Unrivaled had 4 games unfold this past weekend, and we're going to show you a clip of Chelsea Gray winning the game for Rose Basketball Club over Breeze Basketball Club. Chelsea Gray hits 1 3 here to bring Rose back into the game. The winning score here in Unrivaled is 11 points above whatever the end of the third quarter score is. So it's 69 in this case. Courtney Williams comes up short, and the point guard comes down and hits a clutch 3 to win it for the Rose Basketball Club over the Vinyl team. This is her 7th game winner in the Unrivaled League. Unrivaled League is a professional women's basketball 3-on-3 league featuring some of the WNBA's biggest stars, like Chelsea Gray, as we saw there. Dad, what do you think about Unrivaled League and 3 versus 3 and the benefits that it can bring to 5v5 when they transition back to the W?
I think it's a great opportunity for some of the younger players to establish themselves to get in a better position from the WNBA season. I think it's a situation where they get a chance to broaden the bigs like Shakira Austin get a chance to broaden their game because you're only playing 3-on-3. So you don't have to necessarily stick in the post. You can dribble up and utilize the court. I think it's an opportunity for them to make money during the off season because that's one of the things, even though the appeal of the league is increased greatly over the last couple of years, the money still hasn't caught up yet. Thus, the necessity for Unrivaled League, an opportunity for them to make some money during the NBA season.
Mm-hmm. And there's certainly lots of money there for the women. They're out in Miami. It's almost like a vacation, a training camp type style vibe where the ladies are getting to make content, interact with each other, play with other women from other teams that they're used to competing against the entire season. You mentioned players that like a Shakira Austin who are a 4. Another one I think of is Rakia Jackson, who's a 4, but now she's playing 3-on-3 and gets to play the 3, gets to bring the ball up the court and expand those areas of her game. But also she gets to play with her teammate, just like Shakira Austin and Shook Sutton are playing together on a team. What do you think are the benefits of those aspects, either getting to play with teammates or learning from those that you're used to competing against at your position?
The chemistry definitely helps because you're getting a chance to play in a different style. And in the past, they've played overseas and come back to the WNBA team. Now they can do it in the States. So I think it's going to help them greatly when they get back to their regular teams, the WNBA teams. And the chemistry that they establish in the Unrivaled League is going to enhance their efforts to play together and teamwork and cohesion in the WNBA. Mm-hmm.
Totally agreed there. And now we're going to transition gears from professional hoops from the WNBA and women's professional basketball to the NBA. We have some big news for your Washington Wizards. Trae Young is coming to town from the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, is this a surprise to you? Did you know something I didn't know? Should I be getting excited about being a Wizards fan? How are you feeling being the most diehard Washington, continue to stick beside them no matter what fan ever?
What two things don't go together? A superstar saying they want to play for the Wizards.
That was the feedback from most.
And he said that he wanted to come to Washington. He was the king of Atlanta, but now he's going to bring his game here. They had to give up C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert, but they got Bub Carrington, they've got Trey Johnson, so they've got some young players. They've won 10 games already.
That's a start.
Which people predicted they might not win 10 games throughout the year. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking forward. Trey hasn't hit the court with the team yet, but I'm looking forward to it. He was really enthusiastic during the press conference. So we've got a star.
Yeah, Trae hasn't hit the court yet, and the Wizards aren't rushing him back. He has some lingering injuries that they said they're not going to rush him back from. They need to have their brand new star in full condition when he returns to hopefully add some more to those 10 wins. But something interesting I thought that he said about being the king of Atlanta and now asking to come to Washington, he said it's an opportunity to be myself. Where do you see, how do you see that show up when he joins his team full of younger players? He's technically a veteran now, or leaning more toward that side, even though he's a younger guy. How do you think he's going to show up for the team that way?
Yeah, Trae is about 27, 28, but he'll be a veteran on this team. But I think be careful what you ask for in terms of his time in Atlanta. He wanted to be the star, and they kept changing the roster around him. And it got to the point where it was just too much for him, too much of a burden for him to carry, and he wanted to start over fresh with a young team, get a chance to build around where he can be the leader, but not necessarily everything fall on him. So I can understand that perspective, but it's just that he was just so iconic in Atlanta. To see him come to Washington is a huge deal.
Yeah, well, it's exciting for us Washingtonians. We've been in a rebuild for 3 to 4 years since Bradley Beal and John Wall have left. So hopefully Trae Young will bring the star power that it is that you're talking about and be a great veteran to those rookie stars, not rookie, but younger stars that we have already on the Wizards. Speaking of locally, we're going to turn into our local college men's spotlight of the weekend, George Mason versus VCU from the A-10. So this is actually a matchup that was a repeat of last year's A-10 conference title game. And George Mason came out victorious 86-80 against a VCU team that's now 2-2, 500 in the conference. But George Mason has started out 4-0 this year in conference play. What do you see working for this team, and how can they continue to build on that?
Well, Tony Shin has done a great job. He was, of course, a member of the Final Four George Mason team. He did a coaching stint at Maryland before he took the head job at George Mason a couple of years ago. They had a great regular season last year, lost in the championship game to VCU, and he built through the portal and got some transfers and some recruits, and they're playing extremely well, and are going to try to see if they can get over the hump this year and actually win the tournament and make it to the NCAA.
Well, they're off to a great start, 4-0, as I mentioned, able to get that rematch win against VCU and start off their conference play. So looking forward to some big things from George Mason, and we'll stay tuned on what they have coming up. Dad, thank you for being here. Thank you all for joining us today for Roundball Reloaded. Stay tuned for more content of your favorite sports stories that you didn't know you wanted to hear until now. I'm Danielle Dyer, and this is Andrew Dyer here, and we'll see you for more.